And the truth is very simple. I can't think of anything else. It has been a week now that the only thing I can think about is this game and how this game equals our season. Like this game, I know that it's just a round of 16. I know that that trophy is far away, but it would mean a step closer to it. It would mean continuing to have hope in this season, continuing to live this season with adrenaline. And this game is absolutely everything. Welcome to the Roma Bologna second leg match preview. First leg ended 1-1 in Bologna last week. A very dull game, a very physical game where Bologna tried to score as many goals as possible. Definitely were the most offensive team. Roma trying to refrain them, break them down. And then, Pellegrini scored that goal, which can end up being vital, because now you've brought this game back at the Stadio Olimpico. And you were going to fight this war in front of your fans. And I will say, you're going to fight this war alongside your fans. And that's probably where we should start this match preview. You've heard it. The Curva Sud's announced that the flags need to return. The famous Athletic Bilbao flags need to return in tomorrow's game. That they've prepared a choreo, and that we need to be the reason that we're gonna get into that quarterfinal. We need to be the reason. We need to be the tool and the weapon that, despite all of our problems right now, needs to be superior than Bologna. And that tool is this. This is the biggest tool that will come handy in tomorrow's game. I don't need to tell you because I'm no one to, give these commands. Bring the flags, bring the voices, because tomorrow's game is absolutely massive. I'm so nervous for it. Because if we were to crash out, I'll be honest with you, our season for me would have no meaning in it. We need to keep this dream alive. I've said this in the Como match reaction at the end. We need to believe in this trophy. We need to believe in this path. You might think that it's impossible. You might think that we have no chance. I get it, but we must keep the pessimism and the false hope away from this tournament. Every game is a step forward. Every game is a step forward to a dream, and we must help this team because this team is not living a good moment. This team is suffering all the injuries possible, and this is why I say we need to be the extra man in tomorrow's game. We need to help this team. The flags, the voices, the scarves, the flares, the choreo. We need to be the 12th man on that pitch. And we need to be the reason that we advance into the quarterfinal. Because if we advance into the quarterfinal, it will be because of the players who play the game, but it will be because of us. Anyways, let's look at this game. I think this game is a game, especially the second leg, after that Como result. This is a game between two teams that literally have this tournament to left in the season. Like, if before the first leg, we were still tempted in going, which path should we follow? Let's keep both paths possible in case one gets fucked up. With that Como defeat, I think you're in the same shoes as Bologna in a sense that this game marks your season. This tournament is your only salvation. Now, again, it's probably not the same scenario because we still are 3 points behind, Como behind 4th spot. So, yes, mathematically, we can still get there, but you're not going to get there because you've got too many limits in your team. You don't have squad depth and the calendar doesn't help. So, frankly speaking, believing in that 4th spot for me, and in a sense also maybe consuming energy of players before European games if we were to advance in those games would be a hazard. our only path is this. Let's face it. This is our path. This is our path. We need to go all in it. Whether that all in works or not, well, I can't. I'm not a magician. Again, I don't have a glass sphere in front of me saying if we'll win it. But what I can say is that we need to treat this just like Bologna are going to treat it. So this is a very delicate game because effectively, whoever goes out will be slammed at the reality that their season is basically done. Their season is basically done. Bologna more than you, absolutely. If Bologna were to crash out, Bologna would have nothing else to ask from this season. But I would put you in the same scenario. It's less dramatic because the points are less. You're closer to that fourth spot. But for all the reasons that I said, I don't believe you're going to get fourth. So this is your salvation. And man, I'm so nervous because the game is so delicate. The game is so delicate that, one detail, one mistake, one moment at the end of the day can end your season. At least the motivation that you will ask from this season. So, very delicate game. Very, very delicate game. Well, if in the first leg I expected Bologna to play the game and you to be calm, try and avoid conceding many goals, but a draw wouldn't have been bad in the first leg. I expect you to make the game, to lead the game. I expect you to react on a psychological level because the atmosphere and the environment tomorrow will help you do so. I expect you finding an early goal to try and give a direction immediately to the game, and then maybe in the second half slam it down with another goal. And most importantly, you need to be solid in defense. Look, we don't have the team. We don't have the offensive capabilities of scoring many goals. We don't. We scored 3 against Juventus because I think we played the best 70 minutes of our season. But you don't have the offensive capabilities to score many goals. And we've seen this all throughout this season except a few games. The Juve game, the Cremonese game back in November where you scored 4 goals. If there's one thing that this season has told us, is that we're not good offensively. Now, especially that Sule, Dybala, Ferguson and Dovbyk are all out, our only rock is Malen. But as I said many times, Malen ain't R9. He can't win you games. Yes he can, but it won't last forever, okay? He needs his support. So, my big danger here is conceding first. Like with any game this season, let's face it. I don't remember many games, maybe apart from a few, where if you conceded first, you ended up winning the game. We're not that team this year. We're not, this team doesn't scream comeback to me. It doesn't. Every game that you concede, unfortunately, is a stab at your heart. So, you need to be careful in defense. And what worries me is that over the past month, we've been atrocious in defense. We've conceded goals. I look at those 3 against Juve. The one against Como where Hermoso completely missed the man. The one against Napoli where nobody marked Alisson Santos. Lately we've had a decline defensively. I also think because of personal players, for instance, Mancho, I think has had an incredible downgrade over the past month. Also on a character point of view, because I think over the last month he's returned to being that speaking too much rather than focusing on the game. Something that up until November he completely eliminated. And I would argue that up until November he was one of our best players. Now there is an evident collapse. I think our leader is Indica. Also, speaking about Mancho, I'm reading that he has a little problem, so I'm not sure if he'll be ready to start this game. I've put him in because he always plays even if he's injured, but I'm reading that Mancho isn't 100% fit. That could be another player adding to the injury list. Kone definitely isn't fit. We've seen it against Como, played an incredibly bad game. We need to resist. I'm sorry, I've said it again. I've said and referred to this concept so many times over the past days, weeks, but it's the truth. You need to resist. You need to resist, which is why I say we need to step up tomorrow, because this team needs help. This team needs help. This team needs something to push them to eliminate that psychological block that they've accumulated in this bad period. We need to be there tomorrow, and which is why I say, even people that won't be at the stadium, you can help. And by helping is, from now until the end of the season, we need to eliminate the pessimism. The pessimism is there. The pessimism is present. The pessimism, there are problems. We know that there are problems, but we need to be good at keeping these problems out. What makes a good relationship in life? Relationships are all about solving problems together, getting out of uncomfortable situations together, mutual support amongst each other, right? So if I'm the one in a relationship that always refers back to, oh well, but look at that, oh well, but do you remember that, oh well, but that's not good enough, it doesn't help. It makes it more and more toxic. So there will be a time where we need to look at ourselves in the eyes and go, we need to face these problems together. And by facing these problems together, we need to think positive. Because if I always speak pessimism, you're putting fuel on that fire. And that fire will grow. So we know that the pessimism is there, but we need to avoid letting it grow. Because trust me, especially with social media and things, it doesn't help. I've grown over the past seasons, but I'll be honest with you, I've kind of developed this, especially after that Juve game. Like in a sense that Juve game, in a way, also changed me as a fan. Because ever since Gatti scored that goal, I've highlighted the problems. The problems are there. We've made mistakes. I said negative things about the moment. But that Gatti goal has made me want to support more. Has made me want to help the team more. And maybe it's just me, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing coming from a bad thing. Maybe years ago, maybe when I was younger, had we conceded that goal against Juve, I'd have been like, oh my God, this team. And that, motivation to even go to the stadium would have been like, oh my God, I don't want to go. Maybe growing up, I don't know, but that Gatti goal has made me want to support this team more, because maybe also highlighting the problems. I know that there are problems. I know that this manager, in a way, I still believe is working miracles, because he's got nobody up front. Nobody. He had so many injuries. So the same people that go, Conte this season has been very unlucky, the same needs to apply to Gasperini, because Gasperini, I can't remember one game where he had a full squad. And maybe it's these difficulties that emerge and make me want to go, we need to help them. So, yeah, look, I don't want anyone to look at the Europa League configuration. Yes, if we go through, 90% it's going to be Villa. But first we need to go through. And that's something that we need to understand. In order to face Villa, which is our next step by step, battle after battle, this is our war. We need to beat Bologna. And this is a very delicate game. This is a very complicated game. Against a team that has got tempo, have got fast players, unpredictable players, Bernardeschi, Rowe, Castro, who all rested last weekend against Sassuolo. They've got squad depth. They've got Orsolini. This is a good team that has just maybe underperformed this season. But this is a good team that last season won the Coppa Italia. That 2 years ago was playing in last year was playing in the Champions League. So this is not easy. But we need to go to war with our boys. And this would be our sword tomorrow. This. Okay, my predicted 11 is Mile. Mancho, I'm not sure, but I've put him in because he always resists the injuries and ends up playing. Then Ndika and Gilardi in defense. Wesley, Manu, Brian, Ancelik, and then Pisilli, Pellegrini, and Malin up front. Look, I can see Gasperini try something new and going Malin and Vaz up front. I can see it. But I don't think it will happen. I think it's going to be this. Zaragoza, frankly speaking, I'd rather he gets subbed in than starts the game. Remember, tomorrow's game has got not only the extra time danger, but the penalties danger. Tomorrow's going to be a Napoleonic war. I'm convinced about that. Tomorrow is going to be a game that our heart will not like. But that's what we live for. That's why we swore an oath of loyalty and love to this football team. Forza Roma sempre. Okay, I'll catch you tomorrow. Hopefully, with the biggest vlog of the season. Flags are going to be back. Atmosphere will be crazy. We just need a performance. And we need a win. And we need that quarterfinal. Hit the like. Subscribe. I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I'll catch you tomorrow and on Friday with a match reaction. Speak to you soon. Simo out.